Hey, welcome to Old English Outfitters. I'm Alan. So, we've talked a lot about the current trend of putting more ammunition into small pistols. It started kind of with the SIGs 365 and then the Springfield Hellcat and so on, most everything being in 9mm. Well, other companies have had to kind of chase that trend a little bit, right? Ruger's chasing it with their Max 9. Nice pistol. We shot it. Very nice pistol. Good price point. Taurus is chasing it with their GX4. Well, today we're going to take a look at one that Ruger has come up with, and now it's their turn to chase Ruger. This is the LCP Max. Empty and safe here. 380 ACP. Ships with a 10-round magazine. Now, the LCP series has been around for a long time. Very successful weapon for Ruger. 380 caliber, and that's how it started. They made a couple minor improvements to it as the years went on, and then they came up with the LCP2. The 2 had the same configuration basically as what we have here, but the LCP2 went to essentially a single action trigger function, which made the trigger shorter and lighter. Capacity on the LCPs or the LCP2s has always been 6 rounds standard with a 7-round option. Ruger took the LCP2 and chambered it in .22 long rifle. We reviewed it. Very nice gun. 10 rounds in a capacity, or I should say a size frame that's not much bigger than this. Actually about the same footprint as this. Well, now we have the LCP Max. This takes some of the LCP2 refinements, but goes a step further. We went in 380 caliber now. We went to a 10-round magazine. Looks like a lot of the 9mm mags we've looked at, right? Starts out wide at the bottom, moves up and settles down to a single stack feed. Gun ships standard with a 10-round magazine and a pocket holster. The LCP series comes standard with pocket holsters, if you didn't know that. It's a nice touch. Not expensive, but a nice touch. This thing, 380 ACP with 10 rounds in the magazine. That's pretty good. Nobody else has one. There are a couple other 380 caliber guns out there with double stack magazines. The Beretta and the Bursa are the two that come to mind. They're both very large guns, significantly larger than this. One of the advantages of small 380 pistols like this is they fit really well in a pocket, hence the inclusion of the pocket holster, right? They're not so large and heavy that you can't comfortably carry them in a pocket all the time, and they're not in your way, and they don't weigh all that much. Even fully loaded, this doesn't weigh a huge amount. There's a few little refinements on this gun that make it a little bit unique. Ruger was thinking when they put this together. Now, if you remember the LCPs and the LCP2s, the sights on those guns have been standard in that they're an integral part of the slide. They're molded into the slide. Here we have dovetailed sights and replacement sights that will fit the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard Series 380 will fit this pistol. But it comes standard with an excellent set of sights. The front one is white outline tritium, so it's a front night sight. The rear one, and these sights are metal, the rear one is slanted in the back, and they've got some serrations across the back of it to break up light. Excellent idea. But the other thing they've done I really like is if you look at this, the profile of this rear sight, it's flat, it's wedged on the front. So if you needed to hook it to rack the gun, you can do that. Good idea. Very good idea on a pistol that's intended for defense purposes. We have both front and rear cocking serrations, just like the LCP2. But another thing that they've done is on the rear of the slide, and you can't really see them very well unless you're really holding the pistol, but right here, we've got a small little ear extended on each side, which gives you a better purchase on the back to cycle the slide. It has the same trigger profile as the LCP2s. Starts from essentially a fully cocked hammer. It's a hammer-fired gun, internal hammer. Starts from a fully cocked hammer. You got a trigger safety piece that prevents the trigger from traveling unless you get a good purchase on the trigger. Very much like an LCP2 trigger. It's exactly what it is. It has a relatively short stroke that stops and then the trigger breaks. It's not super light, but it isn't heavy either. Contributes to the gun shooting very well. The frame. If you remember the LCP-2 in 380, the standard gun, it had kind of a step in the side of the frame here, right? And they intentionally made the back of the frame just a little bit wider because that was one of the things that people talked about in shooting the guns. Frame was a little narrow. Well, what they've done with this one is they just widened it out a little bit, filled in all that space, which accommodates that magazine. So really nice setup. It feels good in the hand. It sets still when you shoot it. You can shoot it rapidly. Sets still, doesn't flop around. Got a little front serration up there. Nothing real super aggressive, but enough to make it stay put. Very nice little pistol. Rounded edges. This is a good idea. Now, you can argue the effectiveness of 380 all day long if you want to. But as I very often say, much depends on what you do with what you have. And something like this that gives you good capacity in this caliber that you can comfortably carry is certainly more effective than something that's much larger that you're just not going to carry for whatever reason. So 10-round standard magazine, but we also have a 12-round magazine that is an option. Now, the gun does not ship with the 12. It comes with the 10 and a pocket holster, but the 12s are going to be optional magazines. We're going to have some of these in stock very soon in quantity. We should have magazines in quantity too. So that's a good thing. A lot of times, you know, when you get guns like this that come out, it takes a little while for the manufacturers to catch up with additional magazines. Ruger's done a pretty good job of shipping them right off the bat. So kudos to them for that. This is a good gun. If you like 380 and you like a small pocket pistol, this is going to give you capacity and sights and shootability that is a little bit of a step above its previous brothers. The LCPs and LCP2s shoot pretty good for the small pistols that they are, but they're not as shootable as some things that are just marginally larger, like a Glock 42, for example. This shoots every bit as good as a Glock 42. We didn't put tons of rounds through it, but what we put through it, we had absolutely no problems at all. Sights are pretty well regulated. First round hits on steel were no problem. Good gun. Price point. Well, the Max 9 has been coming in at around $450 roughly. This thing is going to come in between $350 and $400, probably in the $370 range currently. Now, as we always say, especially in the current environment, right? Prices change, availability changes. These are going to be in high demand to be sure. So always check with us for price and availability current to when you're looking to purchase. But this is going to be a hot item. We would recommend it. A very nice gun. Good choice on Ruger's part. Takedown on this is extraordinarily simple. You make sure that it's empty and safe like you do everything else. If you got a small flat screwdriver, this takes apart just like the LCPs and the LCP2 series. There's a tiny little takedown pin right there. If you put your little flat tip under there and just pop that pin up like so, pull the pin out, don't lose the pin. The slide assembly will come right off the frame. You've got a recoil spring and guide, not captured, but it's not under extreme pressure, and barrel. So very similar to what you see with most modern firearms. The one thing to keep in mind, and you've always had to keep this in mind with the other guns in this category, is that small pin. Don't lose it. If you lose that pin, you're out of business. When you put the recoil spring and guide back in, remember that it's under some pressure, so make sure it's seated well before you let go of it. All you got to do is put the slide assembly back on the frame. You don't have to push it open or anything like that. Push the pin back in. It'll just pop right back in place. That's pretty simple. Good gun. If you're interested in one of these, again, these are going to be hot items. So check with us for current price and availability. We like it. We think it's a great choice. And now the other manufacturers are going to have to chase Ruger if they want to produce something like this. So pretty cool. All right, well, that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time. I'm Alan for Old English Outfitters.